Hey,
Hi.
hey, here's Cassia.
Hi guys, thanks for joining.
She's joining in as my tech support, making sure I don't break anything. All good stuff. All right. So yeah, thank you all for joining. It's really awesome to have you um, check this out with us. There's a fair amount to cover and some really useful ways that notifications can kind of automate and benefit your business directly. And if anybody has to jump out at any time, don't worry. We will be sharing the recording with everybody afterwards. So that'll be just something you can reference back to at any point. Oh, thank you. All right. So don't want to keep everybody waiting here much longer. I have a habit of looking at my own picture instead of the camera. We'll get started. All right. So I will share my screen. I'll probably pause this. See you later, everybody. I'll still be here, but I'm just going to take off the webcam for a sec. There we go. Okay, I think we're good. Now, can everybody see my screen okay? I'll maybe look for a few validating chats here, but just want to make sure the picture is coming in clearly for everybody. Oh, I see. Open up the little chat panel. All right, thank you so much. All right, so I will just close that for now. All right, so BPro notifications. This is something I've been very excited about, from my perspective in working directly with your businesses. I know this is going to have a positive impact. So the goal with notifications, they're really geared towards automating certain parts of the communication process. We have 3 delivery methods for our notifications in the system, and I'll be going through kind of explaining the differences and how they can be useful. I'll try and use some use cases too, so we can maybe cover a few scenarios. First off, there's in-app notifications. Those are the notifications that will pop up right up here in the top right corner of your BPro. So you can click this button and you can see all of the notifications that have been triggered off of BPro activity that are directed towards your user. So this panel is always specific to your user. I'm in as the administrator right now. The notifications themselves are permission driven. So business owners, store admins, they'll have really full access to be able to create their own notifications, edit their own notifications, or delete them. I think this is pretty empowering for us, and the permissions help as well because you can restrict that ability to edit or delete those notifications once they're set up. So within your system, that's just a good safeguard to have in place. So we talked about in-app here on the notifications tab up here. We also have email notifications and SMS notifications. So the in-app notifications and email notifications are fully included in your BPro package. There's no additional cost to that whatsoever. The SMS, which I'll review a little later on, does have a cost tied to it. It's actually a cost that we have to cover in order to activate. So that unfortunately does have an activation price that is passed on to users that like to activate the SMS feature. So I'll also review pricing later on. Excuse me. So quickly, I'll kind of point out where we're at now. We're currently under the Customize menu on our Notifications Builder page. Okay, so this is really where all of your triggers will exist in BPro, and you can also set up kind of which triggers you'd like to have active or not. And you can also control the delivery methods and so on as well as the recipients. Of course, we need to define who will be receiving the notifications in the end. Okay, so I think of them like triggers because they're really based around, again, actionable items within vPro. So I'll explain some of these and point out how they might be useful for some scenarios. We have call created, call reminder, and call updated. Those are all related directly to our interactions feature. You may know already you can create interactions directly from your customer's profile page. Oh, I'm just gonna try and get myself over there. How do I hide this? Oh, I think I can just move it. One sec here, guys. I have a little invisible bar here for the webinar. I'm just trying to get out of my way. All right. So from your customer profile, when you create an interaction, say for a call, that's what that call created is referring to. So these call interactions save directly in your calendar, and so do call meeting interactions. Sorry. So because those can be very important touch points with your client, we give you that ability to create a notification around it. So whether you wanted to notify the client as somewhat of a confirmation, like, hey, we booked our call, here's the details of that call, and really it helps ensure that both parties are on the same page and follow through with that activity. So by the same token, the reminder can be very helpful. That's really intended to send out to the appropriate parties just a little bit in advance of when that call will actually be taking place. So you can set that maybe a day before, remind your client. You could also remind your internal staff member potentially, or yourself. I'm thinking more like users. You might send a notification to that user, again, a day in advance to remind them about that upcoming call or meeting. So those interaction notifications can be quite helpful. You may know as well, you can create interaction events directly in your new calendar page as well. So as far as creating those, they're pretty easy. Just going to scroll down the page here a little bit. Then we have client assigned to an employee. That's really in reference to the account owner feature that we have here within the profile as well. So I know some locations will use this to indicate maybe an internal salesperson or representative for that appropriate client. Some people will use it to keep track of who created or is the preferred representative for that particular customer as well. And great for any salespeople, like I said. So I'm just gonna close this customer unless I keep clicking on it. But that is, again, just a great way that you can notify, say, a client who the representative is or their key point of contact. And yeah, great also for like transferring those relationships. If, say, you have your staff member who is the account owner, maybe they leave you. Well, if you transfer them to a new account owner, you could have that notification auto inform your client. We have client created in the system. So that's as soon as you save that customer record into vPro, it could trigger a notification to be sent out either to the customer itself or to any internal users or custom recipients too. So we'll go through those options. But client created, in terms of a triggering event, maybe an opportunity there where you could send the client a friendly email saying, hey, welcome to the fold, like we so much appreciate the opportunity to do business with you. Maybe even in the email, like a little bit of a, I don't know, an offer or promotion, save 10% on your first booking with us, let's say. So different ways you could go about it. Further down the list, we've got employee assigned to call or meeting, again, related to that interaction functionality. Okay, that's great, again, to update your assigned users. So when you're, say, doing the activity of creating interactions on behalf of your users, that could ensure they get a quick, whether it's in-app, email, or SMS notification. It keeps them directly in the loop. And being automated, yeah, you can see how this can save you a lot of time in writing emails and sending out those manual communications. Okay, job appointment assigned to employee, picker, or job appointment created, job appointment reminder, or job appointment updated. So job appointments are very important. So we have a number of triggers surrounding them. Again, depending on the scenario that you want that notification to go out, these all have value in their own rights, respectively. One of my favorite, though, out of the job appointment ones, as far as I see in terms of the best value that it can provide to you, the business owner, is really the job appointment reminder. I mean, there's nothing worse than having an appointment be missed, especially when you plan like your whole day around it type thing, right? So you could set the job appointment reminder. It's going to be based off of when that event is saved in your calendar. So let's say we have a job booked for next Monday. We could set the reminder to go out a day in advance, a week in advance, maybe even an hour before. In fact, you could even set it up to go at all three of those timings. So it gives you some flexibility, but again, it keeps your users, your staff, and your customers in the loop. Okay, just moving down the list here. There's just a few more to point out. We also have job created. So it's a great way to, you might send out like an order confirmation an hour afterward, after you've created that job and filled in the details. You could set that to send out like an automated reminder or confirmation, I should say, to your client or potentially to the staff related to that job. Then we have lead-based triggers. Great, again, if you employ any kind of sales people or account managers, when you have those inbound leads come in, office managers even, great activity there. Hey, we've got a new lead in the system, or we've updated a lead. It's ways that you can inform the appropriate people so that those leads can be followed through with properly, and ideally, hopefully you can turn them into customers along the way too. All right, then we have our meeting reminders, again, based around those interaction meetings. So we have created, overall reminder, and when updates are made. So let's say if you had a meeting or phone call, it doesn't matter. If you change those times drastically or the dates, it doesn't have to be drastic, but in any form, you'll want to notify the appropriate party. So these can help you do that. And scheduled payment reminders. So if a scheduled payment is overdue, or set in place, you can set those reminders to go before or after that scheduled payment. Scheduled payment, for any of you who don't use that feature or maybe aren't familiar with it, I should say, that is in the checkout menu of your BePro, just beneath the accept payment button near the bottom. It's great for really planning when you want to receive a payment. In fact, it can even be reflected on your invoices. So it's a great way to communicate due dates to your clients. And it's particularly helpful if you do business to business type sales from time to time. So anyways, getting paid is always important, right? So, and sometimes it's hard to track down all the people that might be late. So anyway, so that's the main triggers. Now within each trigger, you have, you've probably seen me already click into some of these. Actually, you just go to my job appointment reminder. When you click into any of these, you see the little up and down arrows here, they expand. And within each trigger, we've built and included a number of templates, some more than others, really depends. But we've set up these templates with really some of the practical use cases for you. So the idea is that you can go into the builder and work off of one of the existing templates, or you could clone it and then make further changes yourself. I spoke about permissions a little earlier on this call, and really, if you're in, say, like a multi-location BePro, you may not have the ability to edit these templates yourself because they could be shared down from the top location. I just wanted to point that out. So if you go to edit one, you will receive a little pop-up message telling you you don't have the appropriate permission. If that's ever the case, don't worry. Just find the template you want, clone it, then it belongs to you, and you can edit any of the details of that template freely. Okay, so And yeah, you won't have the ability to delete to any of those locked templates, but you'll see here within each template, it follows like within our grid format here, you've got different columns. Set up correctly is an important one. So if you do just create your own notification template from scratch by clicking the create button here, totally fine. But when you're all finished going through the steps, you'll know right away whether you're missing details or not. You can actually click on the grid with your mouse and hold your button and just scroll left and right. I find that's an easy way to do it. I did want to point out the naming of these templates. I worked closely with the team to try and come up with practical names that kind of guide you, the user, as to the end result of any of these templates. Like what's this template for? What's that one for? And listed out in the grid, you can see in the name column, they tell you pretty specifically. We've set some up for, in this case, the appointment reminder. Here's one for one day before, email all of the assigned employees. Perfect. Well, yeah, I want to turn that one on because you never know, like, or I don't know exactly how every user communicates job details to staff, but this can make it a very easy process no matter how you're doing it now, and automate the whole thing. You know, I might have the same kind of thing go off in-app as well. So I could inform my employees one day before by in-app, email, and SMS if I ended up activating the SMS feature. So whatever works best. Email's a pretty good one, in-app absolutely, and SMS is really hard to miss, right? If you're on the receiving end. So a lot of value, I think, in those, and the SMS is particularly convenient both for users and for customers. Okay, so there's that. Of course, you can reference the channel that it sends out on. Again, that's why I put it right here in the name, so it's harder for you to miss. It's very clear as to what each template does. The status column is another that I wanted to point out as very important, just because it can tell you which templates you've actually activated or not. Okay, you can even click to view the content. Okay, so scrolling up here, sorry, I'm going to click into one of these. Let's say one day before, email all assigned employees. So it'll be the employees that are assigned to the event for that particular job. I'll hit edit, and I'd like to review just the fields that you need to fill in, either when you're creating a template from scratch, it'll be the same fields, or if you clone or edit one of the existing templates, depending on your access, you'll see what's available to you here for changes. Okay, so we've got a name of our template. Just a quick toggle switch to make this active. That's gonna make this trigger eligible. But I do wanna point out, no notifications will go out unless you either set a location default, we'll get into the settings there, or customer level notification preferences, basically opting in your clients, right? So you need to pick which ones are going to be receiving certain types of notifications. Okay, so we can choose our delivery method here. It's already set to email. I'm gonna scroll down here. I've already got the name loaded in here. These smart tags are really just the names that we pre-populated into these templates, so it's going to grab the appropriate location information. We can pick our subscribers. So who are we intending to send this off to, right? So any employee, picker / technician that might be assigned to those job events. And each trigger or template, gosh, sorry, let me recollect my, my tongue here. Each trigger will have different recipient options based on really its purpose. Okay, so the same thing with timing in terms of when it's sent out. So the reminders, for instance, they have time ranges that are intended to send out in advance of whatever the trigger or event is, like job appointment date. And then I could pick any kind of range for days before. So like here I have custom, I could go days before or hours before, and I could put as many days in here as I like. Okay, so I'll leave that as one for now. Okay, so moving down here. Oh, sorry. We can actually pick our content for that email too. So we can set our reply to address, and we can also pick the actual email template that we want to go out. So this is going to send off of the business email templates that are in your system. You can create your own business emails at any time. And you can customize that content to go along with the notification if you like. However, as far as content goes, emails, of course, you can build nice, pretty emails with a lot of pictures and links and stuff. They can be very nice. But being mindful of, say, the in-app or SMS notifications, you'll typically want the content to be quite short, right? You don't want to receive a text message that's massive and chances are, your client won't read it all the way through. Now, when you do the preview, what it will show is the details of content of the email. Even the emails, we recommend keep them as fairly basic, but depends on the purpose. And you can preview. So in this case, for this trigger, it's an appointment reminder. And as you can see, it's including by default all of the details of the appointment: order number, date, time, location, assigned employees, the works. Okay, so pretty cool. I'm gonna just close this for now though. And just gonna jump into a different area. So like I said, one of the first step for you to activate notifications will be coming here to the notifications builder, again under the customize menu, and choosing which triggers and associated templates you'd like to have activated. Okay, and that's the starting point. Once that's active, then it's eligible to start sending out. And we'll get into what's next. Okay. Before I get too much further ahead of myself, I do want to talk about the in-app delivery. Great for informing anything in-app, right? So I spend most of my day in BPro, so that's the perfect place to notify me. And so when I log in each day, I can see my notifications with a badge of how many I have up here in the top right corner. So when I click on this notifications tab, okay, I can see all of the notifications, mainly job appointment reminders for me, it looks like. Okay, I can choose how many I see per page, just down here, or I could cycle through the pages if I like. But really nice that you can just click on them and see the details of each notification. I do want to point out the settings section here. Oh, and to clear your badges too, if you want to just mark them all as red, you can click that right up here in the top right corner. Okay, on the settings, this again is your notifications area for your user. So what you have in these settings is really setting up your own personal preferences as a user for how you would like to receive notifications. So you basically can opt yourself in to certain ones as well. Okay, what I could do is I could pick or type in, say, the cell phone number that I want to receive SMS notifications at. Because it might not be my work, well, maybe I want it on a personal phone or something, right? Same thing with email. Maybe I'd like those email notifications going to a specific email address. All right, and then further down, I can actually pick and choose which trigger templates I want to be informed of by notification as well. So that can be really handy. I can go through and just say, oh, well, I definitely want the call reminder ones set. I definitely want the job appointment reminders turned on for me too, right? So things like that can be really useful for you, but it put users in a certain level of control on their own. If you have users that are, say, technicians out in the field that don't really access BPro, they're built in as users. Sometimes this is done with like fake email addresses. What you could do is you could change the email to your own, or even like a personal email. I know you can't use the same email in BPro twice, so each user has to have a unique email. But one thing I've done is I've set a user profile to my own email just temporarily, so I could log into the account and actually set up the preferences for that user that's out in the field on their behalf. Then after I'm done, I would just go edit their user email back to a fake one, resave it. So really they won't have any access, but I've gone ahead and helped set up their notifications so that, yeah, they can be out in the field and do that. All right, so moving on, I'd also like to show the main settings right here for the template or for the whole system. Okay, so when you're in the notifications builder, this settings menu in the top left or top right, sorry, has got all of the ability for you to set your from email. Okay, so this will be the email that delivers your outbound SMSs to your outbound emails to your customers or users. Okay, so that's really helpful there. And you also can set your SMS from number here too. Okay, now going down, I do want to point out this section here. We brushed up a little bit of the interface here to make things a little more clear. Now, enabling these defaults below, you see these default subscriptions at the bottom of the page. What that'll do is, let's say I turn on the default email subscription. That turns on every active trigger template. Again, my trigger templates are where it all starts. So notifications can only send out for templates that I make active first off. But by setting this system default subscription email on, what that'll do is within your customers and users that are in the system, after that is set, will be automatically opted in. And sorry, not existing customers, but new customers that you build in after setting this main location set preference. I'm just going to go back here and repeat that step because this is an important one. We're in the notifications builder and we click on the settings in the top right to set our from email, our from SMS if activated. If not, you'll get a message to reach out to the support team. Basically, we activate it in the back end so that you can then purchase an SMS outbound phone number. Okay, and like I said, when I set, say, email or SMS here to default, app is always on because there's no harm in receiving those internal notifications. But we want to be very careful about some of these notifications going to your clients by accident, right? So once you turn those on, if you build in a new customer, like I said, they will be opted into all email and all SMS templates that you have active. So it'll show check marks next to them. But again, if I don't have client assigned to employee as a template actually activated, no email notification will go out. Okay, now if you don't set a default phone number here for Art for receiving text or a default email for receiving emails, the system, again, when this system default is applied, any new customer you built in, if they have an email on file, that'll be the email it attempts to use if you don't define it specifically. So just a heads up on that. But you do want to be careful about this. If you prefer to opt in your customers on a one-by-one basis and keep things very controlled, and sometimes those preferences can be very important, that's a good way to do it. Absolutely. In fact, in that case, just leave these off, leave the in-app on maybe, and really then it's just a matter of setting the phone number and the email in each customer profile on an as-needed basis. And really, sorry, I'll widen my screen out here. This was my next stop. So customer profile notification settings, they just allow you to control that on a per client basis. And yeah, like I said, it's not a bad way to do it. If you're on the phone with the customer, it's like, hey, yeah, I'll send you an invoice or your order's booked. Hey, is it okay if we send you like an email or SMS text reminder of your appointment a day before and then an hour before? You know what, I doubt you'll have too many clients that say no to that, right? So it helps add a convenience for them as well, of course. And yeah, automates that process on your end, so less emails that you have to go manually send out. So yeah, set your preferences in here, and you can opt them into receiving certain template or certain notification templates, basically. Okay, so here we would go and set those up. If we had these set up as our system default, and again, that'll automatically opt in new customers we create afterwards, I would have to then go and manually turn off those subscriptions if I wanted to undo that for that particular client. So all I'm saying is unchecking email here will not assume to automatically, turn off those email notifications for this customer or that customer. All right. So anyways, I think that pretty well covers that part of it. So within the builder, I'll just go back here. We have a nice help button too that explains really in full detail how the whole builder works, which is really good. It just helps explain some of the language and make a little bit of extra clarity there. We do intend to add more triggers as we go. So I can see opportunities already for things like, let's say like order status changes. If I create an estimate, maybe I want an automatic follow-up email to send out to the customer, things like that. Or maybe if I close an invoice, maybe 3 days later, we have an automated survey email go out to them or something like that to gauge their overall satisfaction and thank them for their business. So look forward to what's to come. This is the first phase of a 3-part rollout, which is super exciting. We have a lot more that we'd like to add in, or will be adding into this this section as well, like two-way text. You'll be able to place phone calls directly out of the system using some of these new phone features. So it's going to be pretty cool. All right, checking this out here real quick. I wanted to maybe do a quick poll here for you guys. I'm just going to launch a quick poll here for everybody. Feel free to chime in if you like, and just kind of gauging like who thinks the SMS will benefit them. I'll be covering that next as well, kind of going through the SMS options here shortly. Oh, I did want to cover one quick thing though. So we covered the client profile preferences, reports. Under your reports, there's a couple notifications reports in here too. There's the notifications dashboard and the scheduled notifications. Okay, so I'm just gonna minimize this. All right, so the notifications dashboard is quite helpful because it'll really tell you the status of what's gone out. So you're probably thinking, well, how do I know which notifications have gone out to who and when and all this stuff? So yes, of course, we have this page to help you reference all that good information. I love that it has status updates too. So you're probably used to that that kind of thing, like with our email history logs. It's really empowering to see whether somebody's received or read your message, right? So the statuses are really good. Now let's keep going. You can see what was sent, when, who the recipients were. One thing I missed even on the recipients, but you've got some really nice ways. Like let's say if you were an owner that's not maybe super involved with the business, you could say pop a little notification in here and send it to a custom recipient. So it's not limited to users and clients specifically. You could send an email or text to whoever you want ultimately at the end of the day. So you have the ability to define that. But yeah, the dashboard, really useful. You can set those records per page, sort as well. It's a basic page to reference that information. So there's not any ability to filter it other than the sorting that exists on a number of the columns. But yeah, great resource to be able to reference what's gone out. And then your scheduled notifications. This lets you see what's upcoming or already pending. So yeah, great way to gauge what's coming up. Okay, now we'll go over to the SMS a little bit. I'd like to pop into, say, an SMS template here now. If you're interested in the SMS, of course, it's a very convenient option. Yeah, it's extremely hard to miss whether you're sending those notifications to staff or to customers. So what we'll do, when you go into a template that has SMS tied to it, or if you're creating a new one and you pick SMS, you will receive this message. This is so our support team can basically activate the SMS on the back end. Once we do that, you'll have the ability to purchase an SMS phone number right here in BPro. Okay, so you just send us a message through BPro chat, probably the easiest way, or by email, or call us if you like. So we'll just go here. Oh, and if we contact support, I'll just close that. That can be an easy option. So we pick SMS, same options. We're back in the template, right? So I picked the template and now I have the ability to edit it. I would set it to active. Once I have that phone number set up, I'll of course be able to set that inactive or active anytime I need to. Scrolling down, you can pick those subscribers. You'll see some different options here on this one. Oh, again, I got this thing in my way. Okay, so we could even pick that custom recipient, let's say. And we could have it go to multiple at once. That's what's cool about this. Yeah, you don't have to create like necessarily a template for every scenario, right? In some of them, you can loop in your users, your customers, and your custom recipient all in one shot. All right, so we'll go down here. Again, with text, you want the content to be, you know, pretty straightforward. You don't want it to be too long. I do want to point out there's smart tags here that you can pop in for any of the content on any of the templates. So if you want to pop in things like job number, again, be mindful, a lot of this information will be coming by default with the mandatory info. So we'll take a look at that preview again. But if you wanted to throw in the client first name as a quick, easy example, you can personalize that, that content real easy. Okay, and then we would pick our phone number to assign for that outbound text, and away we go. So it will be listed right here once it's actually purchased. Okay, so I wanted to point out again, we had that message, contact support if you want to activate your SMS. Once we activate it for you, you'll be able to navigate to our phone number page. That will exist under your customized menu once activated. And let's just, I'll widen this out. I'm on a little bit smaller screen here than I'm used to, but this is this button says purchase phone number. We would click it, pick our location. Okay, so that's my demo site here. And I just type the area code that I want to purchase a phone number in. Ideally, it would be your local phone number, but hey, maybe you do business in greater geographic distances. Maybe, you know, you might have a need for an outbound number in a different area code. Anyways, so I'm gonna click search, and that's gonna show me available numbers in my area. So it's just like activating a cell phone kind of thing, right? I don't have complete control, but I can definitely see what's available to me. And for me, I'd try and probably pick a number that stands out or has maybe a few of my lucky numbers in it. This one has a lot of 9s and 0s. I kind of like that. And then we can name it. So we can just call it, we'll say Steve-O's outbound number. Oh, outbound. Outbound. All right, outbound number. Ultimately, my description could basically be the same here. All right, and then I would click the buy button. Then that phone number would be available to me back in my builder. to assign to any SMS notification template. So you can get specific on a per template basis, but even easier, you can set that as your default right up here in your main system settings, which exist in the notifications builder. So you'd set that number right here. After you purchase it, you'd be able to pick it. Really, you could have multiple outbound numbers. So that's why we have that option to pick right here and assign which one is default for the system. I hope that makes sense. I hope I've been making sense in general. However, I do want to talk a little bit more about the SMS. I did mention that there's a cost that we incur with that service. So it does have a cost, unfortunately, that we need to pass on to anyone who'd like to use it. It is extremely affordable, though, for the value that it presents. And that's what I like about it. Like, I look at it from my perspective of owning my business, and I thought, well, gee, that was back in 2009, mind you. I had like a flip phone at that point. So anyways, I just knew when I missed an appointment, I'm just thinking of one trigger here, but if I had a customer just not show for an appointment, it just ruined my day, you know, like I really banked on every single job. So look, if like I said, if the text messaging can even prevent one missed job a month, it probably pays for itself and then some. So that's kind of the way I look at it. It's something I'd probably do if it was me, but in my business. But everybody's different. But just to run through the prices for you, we did send them out to everyone when we initially released the notifications. But just for quick review, we have two plan options for the SMS. It's $20 a month for a 12-month subscription with 1,000 text messages per month. And that's something that can actually, like if you happen to run out of 1,000 text message, we could top it up at any time. But that's the idea. It's still paid monthly, but on a 12-month subscription at $20 a month for 1,000 messages. And the other option is a month-to-month option, and that's $40 for 1,000 text messages month to month. So pretty straightforward. And yeah, easy to use too. Like, so in terms of setting it up, like I said, let us know on the support team. We can set up the whole billing side of it for you in minutes as well, and help you purchase an outbound SMS number. So with all that said, I'm going to take a little quick water break here. Sorry, I kind of carrying on here. Does anybody have any questions? I'm also going to take a second here to open up the Q&A section. And oh. Maybe I'll look through the chat as well. Maybe we didn't have the Q&A panel activated, right?
Apparently not.
Okay. All right. So I'm just going to look through some of the chats here. If anybody has any quick questions they want to pop into the chat, I'll try and answer what I can for you guys. Absolutely. Okay, I don't see. Oh, okay. Oh, okay. Well, thanks, Leanne. Leanne says there's a lot of information to take in. Absolutely, I agree. I was really trying to structure the best way I could to present the information and really the best flow possible. I don't want anybody to feel like it's disconnected, of course, but it really, like I said, it all starts with the notifications builder. Setting up your templates is the first key to make those templates eligible to send out. Then just a matter of either setting, sorry, I'm just going to go back to the builder, your location settings from right there in the builder. So really easy to get to. And then you have, of course, your personal preferences to receive those in-app notifications, email and SMS, but for your user. And then your customer notification preferences, which I'm sure that's maybe the most straightforward of all too, right? We're all kind of used to opting into things ourselves. So that's kind of what you're doing on behalf of your customer. Again, just to clarify those main settings, you basically, when you set email or SMS here, you're basically auto opting in any new customers that you build into the system, just to keep it simple. Okay. Oh, and Leanne says I explained well. Thank you, Leanne. It's very nice of you. Natasha says, on the text message, can the service window or arrival show on the text if we are doing emails and text or both? Oh, that's a good question, Natasha. Yeah, I believe right here, I'm just going to go back to the builder. Let's say I go back into that appointment reminder one. Again, I think this is one that almost everybody could use right off the bat. You know, probably some of the other things like interactions, some people may use more than others, but they all have some really helpful use cases. Let's say one day before text, customer, or custom recipient, either one is good there, but I'll just say custom recipient, I'll look at that one. And then, yeah, right down here, I'm just gonna show the top of the page. By the way, I love how these are put into steps. Like the system will tell you if you missed a setting and kind of point that out to you so you can correct it. But yeah, step 3, just in the preview, to answer your question, yes, Natasha, it will include the date and time settings that you would set up in the event to go along with that text message. Absolutely. All right, I'm going to take a quick sip of water here, folks. All right. Oh, thanks, Leanne. All right. So, yeah, I'm just wondering if there's any other questions here. I think we'll just kind of move this out of the way a bit in my corner. And I'm trying to think if I missed anything. I think I've got it all set here, but again, the notifications, I think the in-app stuff is really useful too to set up for your staff if they do access BPro. If not, email is a good second option, definitely. And if you decide to go the route of SMS, I think that one just can't be beat. They're just so hard to miss, right? So I was actually using this as an example a few weeks ago. Like I had an appointment booked with my dentist, and I don't know why I didn't put it in my calendar, but they fortunately sent me a text message the day before, and that's where I kind of smack my head with my hand and I say, oh, great. You know, like thankfully they set me up on that SMS notification, and, you know, I was lucky enough to not miss my appointment, you know. See a couple more questions here. Oh, okay. So Kathy is asking, if we set up notifications for current customers, will they get them as well? Absolutely. So I guess I want to clarify one thing real quick, Kathy, is let's say in the notification builder on your main system settings here, if say you click default for email and SMS, that won't automatically opt in any existing clients that are in your database. It will automatically opt in any new customers that you create from that moment forward. And if you don't define a specific, within their profile, if you don't define a specific phone number for them to receive, say the SMS, or a specific email for them to receive the email notifications, then it will attempt to send those notifications to the primary phone and the primary email that exist within their file. Now, I don't want to say you can't send to those existing clients. You absolutely can, but it's not governed by those system settings. That's really kind of setting it forward for anybody new that you build in. Anybody existing, we really recommend. Of course, I'd love it if you could just opt everybody in all at the same time, but you can imagine there could be some issues with that, of course, and you're going to have certain customers that would not be happy with that. So we try to recommend, really as a best practice, you want to try and take those opportunities when you have like current communication with your customer, whether it's email or over the phone. Hey, you know, like Art, I know we've been doing business for a few years here, but we just got this new ability to send out, like, you know, whatever it is, appointment reminder notifications. Is it okay if we set you up with that, maybe by SMS or email? And yeah, I mean, they could say, well, you know what, I don't like getting emails because I just get so much spam, but go ahead and set me up on the SMS. Perfect, right? Everybody has their own preferences. So I just find it's a good best practice as you go. Opt-in customers, and before you know it, yeah, you'll have so many people on the notification program benefiting from it as well. Okay, and just another message here from Natasha saying she really likes the idea of the SMS notification functionality. Cool, thank you, Natasha. I'd love to hear that, and I think that's it's really going to be a good one. Again, just phase 1 of 3 here with our notifications. So the capabilities, if you're on board with the SMS, they're going to get a lot better, including two-way communication for those SMS. Oh, sorry, I should clarify. Basically more like two-way texting right out of the software. So if I wanted to give Art a quick text, I could send it. It'll, you know, document what I sent him. And then when he replies, well, that's going to be documented in vPro too. So some cool options. Anyways, I think that pretty much wraps this up. I wasn't expecting to be ahead of time here on the 1 hour, but yeah, I'm glad things seem to go well. And no further questions, it looks like, but why don't we take a moment here and just say goodbye to everybody, Cassia.
Bye, everyone.
Bye.
Thank you.
If you do have any other further questions, please send them in to us by chat, email, or give us a call. And we'll be happy to help walk you through any of this. We will be sharing the recording with everybody afterwards as well. So yeah, if there's anything that you'd like to go back and look through again, then that'll be very easy to do. Other than that,
We're good. That's
I
it.
think we're good. Okay, guys. Well, thanks again. Have a great rest of your week. We'll talk to you again soon.
Bye.
Bye.